Good morning, Is500 students. Welcome to this 10th week of the quarter, the last week of ordinary time, if you're keeping track in the liturgical calendar. On Sunday, we have the first Sunday of Advent, and we'll be making the transition into the brand new liturgical year. If it's not part of your tradition to understand the liturgical calendar, I hope that maybe this year you'll be able to take advantage of week 10 and this fifth module and the way it teaches us to live with our limitations, to think about a rhythm of living, a rhythm of life, and a rhythm of faithfulness that ties to the liturgical calendar. That Advent is actually given to us as a gift, meant to be a season of fasting that prepares us for a longer season of Christmas feasting. Um, Connect the 12 days of Christmas to Epiphany for a little extra credit. Not in my class, but maybe extra credit in somebody's book. I don't know who it is. Um, but I do want to say here, as you're finishing up Module 5 and leaning into Finals Week, just a couple of notes to pull this whole course together. And then I will post another video recording that will go through the specifics of the final portfolio. If you'll notice that in the process of vocational formation, we had you start with your own calling. You wrote an answer to the central integration question, and then you began to immediately reflect on it using the questions of the PT cycle that should now be almost memorized in your mind. Um, that sense of starting from your embodied theology and ending again with an embodied theology, an action of your body that reflects your understanding of your vocation and shapes and supports your vocation is what this course is about and what the integrated courses are about. We integrate our theology in our bodies. We integrate in our actions and the things we do and the way that we embody the life of Christ in our own lives and in the life of our communities. So as you went through the steps of reflecting upon your action, of looking back at your social location and context, of thinking through the scripture texts and the theological passages and traditions and doctrines that shaped you, of reflecting again on the narratives that might even be more powerful than our theology or our actions, the inner stories and the communal stories that haunt us sometimes and can run and even ruin our lives. And then began to think about embodying it into real concrete actions, including your own limitations, including your own need to take care of your body, to have a place to live and food to eat and water and things to drink, to live in a world that requires us to live with limitations of days and years and time. Then it helps us think more deeply about our understanding of vocation. So here I am, once again, in an early morning, preparing for a large administrative day. And the way in which I can teach this class is because I have the capacity to squeeze a few more hours out of the morning or to rearrange my day so that I can attend to it, or to say no to some things so that I can say yes to all of you. It is a challenge for me, just like all of you. I've done some of these recordings in disparate places all over the country as I have a pretty demanding travel schedule, and I've been able to interact with a number of you through email that takes advantage of technology, or through these posts. One or two of you I've met face to face. Hopefully someday I'll meet all of you. All that to say that we live in a world with immense possibilities, but that we also have to hold on to the reality that we are still mortal and we are creatures before we are Christians, and that we are human beings who are trying to embody the one who was completely human, even though he was completely divine. So as you can come to the end of this quarter, and as you think about your answer to the central integration question, remember that it is a very practical question, as well as a very theological question. What you believe you will do, or as Dallas Willard puts it, to believe something is to act as if it is true. So as you're thinking about the final project, the integrative assignments that some of those you'll rewrite, some of those you will just turn in the portfolio. The integrative assignment that you will then also do that makes you rethink the central integration question and construct a rule of life, a set of practices that will help shape and support your emerging sense of vocation. I want you to do so as somebody who wants to be completely human, as well as open to the Spirit's complete sanctification. Um, it's been a real joy to be in this class with you, and I hope that we'll have a chance to someday meet face to face. I do believe the future is hybrid. I believe it's a combination of using technology well to deepen connection and using our connection well to deepen our understanding of ourselves. And through that combination of both technology and high touch, that we become people who more and more embody the kingdom across the miles. And perhaps a little bit of a final word, at least for today, on the whole notion of technology. I've become a huge fan of online education because I actually get to hear more voices, not less, than in a classroom. I was experienced it again in reading your laments. I literally could not keep up with the comments because I was so overwhelmed with the amount of vulnerability, authenticity, um, intentionality so many of you brought to the class. I was even more struck with the level of deep engagement that spanned the miles, but was um, no less heartfelt, even though some of you I know had never met each other, and some of you live on different continents from each other. It reminds me that the gospel flourished because of the use of technology and relationship over distance. Paul sent letters in the hands of people like Timothy, and that allowed a congregation to hear his voice and learn from someone whom he had shaped. And through the use of the Roman road system, and even some of the things that the Romans used to oppress others, the gospel was able to go forward. So as we use this technology over distance, and as we let the technology lead us to deeper connection, I hope that you'll find yourself thinking that you are part of more than just a course, but a giant learning community, a group of followers of Jesus that spans the globe and continues to follow Jesus in a lifetime of discipleship and vocation. So, at this point of your journey, how do you envision your call to God's mission in the world? And I hope some of that call has to do with being able to take on this world as it is, with all of its brokenness and all of its possibilities, and embodying Jesus Christ in the midst of it. I want to say once again that if you need some help, even during this finals week, reach out to Josiah and me. Your work should be pretty straightforward. It shouldn't be very time consuming, but it should be intentional and it should be helpful. And I certainly do hope our paths will cross again. Thanks very much for being in the class.